Hello everyone, and welcome to our OER course on program evaluation. We're going to be covering a lot of topics in this program, but before we get started, I just want to go over the basic details of everything. Program evaluation is a very rich and robust method for studying almost anything. We'll be using a lot of academic or technical examples, but we'll also be using that on the foundation of a cooking example to show you how flexible the main ideas are. So today we're going to be going over the basics of tailoring evaluations, which is a basic skill, a critical skill, in ensuring that assessments fit your unique needs of your programs and stakeholders. And before we go into any further details, I want you to sort of work on this metaphor of cooking. All right, just like program evaluation, when we're working on anything that we want to do, it's going to require the right ingredients, the right proportions, and the right adjustments for taste to make it turn out as good as you want it to. I think most of you have experiences cooking. We all cook for certain reasons, for certain audiences, and with certain values in mind. And so in the same way, an evaluation must be tailored to specific contexts, needs, and implementation requirements to be truly effective. So to continue our cooking metaphor, let's think for a moment sort of abstractly, how might you prepare a meal? When you prepare a meal, you probably don't follow the same recipe for every single dish. Of course, making chili is different than making a grilled cheese sandwich. Making a burrito is different than making a fast ramen that you get from a bag. Some require slow cooking, others need precise measurements, and sometimes you need to adjust what you're doing on the fly depending on what kind of oven you have, microwave, pan, pot. All these things are important elements of making something successful in the kitchen, as well as making them successful in a research scenario where somebody wants to know something about a program that they find important or a community that they want to improve. So as we're talking about customizing cooking, customizing evaluations, it must be very clear that implementing a recipe, implementing a program, no matter what it is, will not fit every single scenario in a generalizable sense. So one size does not fit all. Most of the times it needs to be adapted to the program's goals, important stakeholders, people who have vested interest in what you're cooking. I know we all have people who care about the quality of food that we make to feed them, and also circumstances about what is the context. Are we cooking outside in a barbecue? Are we running a program in a library? Are we making a literacy program in a school? Lots of different ways that make these things vary. So as we continue, let's break down what these different components mean and how they fit into the overall model of program evaluation. All right, so when we're talking about tailoring an evaluation, there are three main components that we need to look at. One is the evaluation questions. What are we trying to answer? What is the main need or problem that the program we're working on is trying to address? In cooking, the main need is hunger. The main question is, what can we cook to make that hunger go away? Then we have different conditions that make the elimination of hunger more or less desirable. We have snacks, we have fast food, we have nutritious food. The same thing will come with your evaluation questions. What are we trying to answer with the problems that we're trying to address? Next, we have the needs of the program's targets. Who will benefit from our program, and what do we need in order to target them? Is it students? Is it teachers? Is it the elderly? Is it the people at your kitchen table? They all have unique needs, requirements, and elements of the program that you're going to implement to make it customized, to maximize the benefit, and also minimizing the effort needed to implement that program. The third element are methods and procedures. After we've sort of decided that everybody's hungry, we've understood what everyone's dietary needs are, we have to think about the methods and procedures to implement our cooking program, to implement our reading program, to implement whatever program we're going to run, which we can then evaluate. So what approach best fits the situation that we're implementing, that we're finding ourselves in? These elements ensure that our evaluators can produce credible and useful answers. All right, next, we're going to go into situational features of an evaluation. Evaluations differ based on the context that they operate in. There are many important factors that go into the context of an evaluation. One is the purpose. Is it a program for improvement, accountability, knowledge generation, need meeting, those sorts of things? We also have the program structure. Is the program new? Is it well established? These contextual elements of the evaluation are very important in the sense that they give you the backdrop for how you will be implementing your program, implementing your recipe. You can think of, what does your kitchen look like? What do the people that you're serving look like? There are lots of things going on there. Another element are administrative and political environments. Evaluation in particular is unique in the sense that we often evaluate political or governmental policies, and when that policy is implemented, we want to see if it had an impact on the community that was designed to serve. The political environment is composed of stakeholders who have a vested interest in the outcome of the program that you're running. What influence does this have over your evaluation, the information that's needed? What influence does this have over the program that you implement itself? Understanding these factors help evaluators design an approach that fits, taking into account all the voices that are interested in the outcome of how money is spent and how things are implemented. Lastly, we have basic methods of evaluation. Just like choosing the right cooking technique, selecting the correct evaluation method is key. These 5 ideas, these 5 next concepts for the methods of evaluation are essential in understanding how a program is created, how it is implemented, how it is assessed, and how finally it is evaluated. Again, we can think of this in the cooking metaphor, and we'll be using this as we go through each one of the following lessons. And we'll be thinking about it as we see the entirety of a program from the beginning of a need all the way to the conclusion of the program. So first we'll start the needs assessment. The basic foundation of a needs assessment is understanding a program before designing it. What are the needs of the environment? What are the problems and what are the gaps that need to be filled by the program? Our basic cooking example is hunger, but maybe someone has a sweet tooth. Maybe they need some extra sugar in there. That would essentially be a need, maybe a want. We'll get into that later in other lessons, but it's also a need in this context. If we have a school assessment, we might find that literacy is lacking. And so therefore, we might think that we have a need for literacy improvement. Next up, we have program theory evaluations, which is the main concept of how do we address the need that we discovered in our needs assessment. The need discovers the problem or the opportunity. The program theory is the idea that addresses that need. So if we find that we need a nutritious meal, our program theory is essentially a researching of recipes that can address those needs. If we're looking at our literacy gap or our literacy needs, we would be looking at literacy programs that we can implement, and we would be studying which of those would be best for our target audience. Next, we have the process evaluation. Now that we have the recipe, now that we have the concept to address the need, the process is the summary and the evaluation of how did the counts and numbers and measures of running the program work. With our literacy program, how many students were able to enter the program? What was their average level of satisfaction? How many resources were needed? When it comes to cooking, these are the measurements and the things that you need to purchase and the items that you need to actually run your recipe. Do you have an oven? Do you have source of heat? Do you have your ingredients? How many ingredients? How many servings can you make? How much does it cost to do all these things? At the end, when you've cooked your meal, you'll be able to tell all these counts, all these processes, and evaluate how efficiently it was done and if there were any problems. In a lot of cases, we'll get more into this in a future lesson, if the process doesn't work, if you can't cook something the way it's supposed to be cooked, you won't be able to evaluate its success because it wasn't cooked correctly. The same thing with a literacy program. If you can't access the materials on a computer that might be required, you can't run the program effectively. So the process is really about seeing if the program was run the way it was supposed to be run and making counts for that and accountability. After we're able to run the program and evaluate the process, we have impact evaluations. This is everyone's overall satisfaction and measurement of the nature of the need being met at the beginning of the implementation, at the beginning of the creation of the program. The impact evaluation is what most people consider when they're thinking about a program. For our literacy program, the impact evaluation will be seeing, did literacy go up? Did illiteracy go down? Did something improve? Was the basic need met? With our cooking metaphor, we have the impact evaluation, how satisfied is everybody after their meal. Lastly, we have efficiency assessments, which looks at the amount of effort in the process and compares it to the amount of outcome in the impact that we got. How much money did it cost to make your meal and how happy was everyone with the meal, this sort of cost-benefit analysis. And so at any stage in any program, we can look at any one of these elements. And usually we don't do them all at once. We usually study one at a time depending on what the need of the program is. All right, well that was our basic introduction to program evaluation, cooking, and how we're going to be covering these as we go on with these OER lessons in program evaluation. So just to finish up, just like a well-prepared dish, evaluation will use the right ingredients, which are our questions, our concepts, our methods, our stakeholder input, and based on these things, we're going to be designing a way to evaluate something that's important.